cells, the cells sometimes called zombie cells, may be behind many of the long-lasting symptoms seen in COVID, long COVID, and chronic fatigue, including extreme tiredness, brain fog, and dizziness. These cells appear to affect both blood flow and the immune system. To help us understand more, we're speaking with Dr. Massimo Nunes, Postdoctoral Researcher in the Department of Psychological Sciences at Stellenbosch University and one of the scientists involved in this study. Good evening, Doctor. So lovely to have you in Channel Africa.
Good evening, Pumuzo. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much. Well, I'm Thabiso. Pumuzo is the producer.
Okay, sorry.
I know. I understand it's him that you've been conversing with leading up to the interview.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
start by asking you this, Dr. Nunes. Your research
yes.
focuses on the so-called zombie cells. What are these cells and why are they so important? I've been asking myself this question since I've come across this.
Yes, so particularly we focus on blood. We focus on blood cells, we focus on coagulation, but more importantly, we focus on the cells that line the inside of blood vessels. So we call those cells endothelial cells, and we call that whole layer, the inner layer of blood vessels, the endothelium. And the endothelium is an extremely important tissue, as you alluded to. And that's because the endothelium regulates blood coagulation, it regulates inflammation, regulates metabolism, it regulates, importantly, the dilation and constriction of vessels. And importantly, in these diseases, we think that the favoring of constriction of these vessels actually leads to reduced blood perfusion, meaning that blood can't get to tissues and organs and bathe them that well. And there's substantial evidence to support this.
How do these Asian cells end up in the blood vessels and what kind of damage can they cause?
So just to clarify, these aging cells is the inner lining of the blood vessels. We call that the endothelium. And typically they're healthy, they're not aging in normal individuals. But after contracting a viral infection, particularly SARS-CoV-2, we know that these endothelial cells, the inner lining of the blood vessels, can turn into this zombie-like state. And we call the zombie-like state senescence.
I see. So now, many people with what's referred to as long COVID say they feel exhausted or crash, especially after light activity. Some of them,
Yes.
tell you that they used to run 10 kilometers, but the person only does 1.5. What's that actually, and why?
So the whole point of this article is we do not really know what the mechanisms are that give rise to ME/CFS, that give rise to long COVID, the two most common post-viral diseases. And particularly talking about that symptom, which is the adverse effects that result from doing exercise or any kind of exertion, that is probably one of the most difficult symptoms to explain. And we think that perhaps in our article, we've done quite a good job of getting there. We just need some evidence to back it up for that particular symptom.
Your research links what's referred to also as brain fog and dizziness. When you talk about brain fog, I'm just starting to visualize my brain in fog, or maybe, some sort of brain block.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So that's essentially what it is. We do a lot of cognitive tests to determine how well your cognition is, whether it be mathematical sums, whether it be cognition tests, formal cognition tests. We do that in these individuals, and we notice they score significantly lower than healthy populations. And this brain fog that we're referring to, it can range from various manifestations, whether it be inability to get speech out properly, or whether it be inability to perform your task, your job, whether it be accounting, numbers, or even something simple. It really plagues these individuals.
These cells are said to be affecting our immune system. Can't one just go over the counter and get something in order to protect my immune system from these cells?
I wish. So the issue with this, typically when we think of the immune system, what we actually want to avoid is inflammation, lots of inflammation, pro-inflammatory responses, which can be damaging to tissues. But in post-viral conditions, it's not necessarily pro-inflammation, what we see, it's more so the dysregulation of the immune cells. So they don't function the way they should. They're not as toxic to pathogens, to bacteria, as they normally are. So finding the treatment that can target this anomaly is still an ongoing process. So unfortunately, we cannot go to the pharmacy, yes, and get medication for this.
These cells are something we can already detect in patients, or is that still being developed?
Yes, so that's actually one of the more pertinent questions related to this article. So we can detect it in patients, although the detection of a specific cell type and to quantify the senescence of a particular cell type is very difficult to do. And our hypothesis proposes that a particular cell type, the endothelial cells, are the ones that turn senescent. So we certainly still need to await better tests, better assays that can identify these cells in living patients. Nonetheless, we can still do that in animal models and obviously deceased tissue, deceased patients, tissue from deceased patients.
Dr. Nunes, I'd like to really thank you for your time this evening. I've run out of time. We have hit 10 o'clock sharp Central African time. Nonetheless, I really appreciate you being available to talk to us about this all-important research.
Of course, and thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. It's Africa World Hour. My name is Thabiso Lehoko. Thanks for listening to us. Really, really, really appreciate broadcasting for